Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to review Ever the Hunted by Erin Summerill. This is the first book in a new YA fantasy series. The series is called Clash of Kingdoms, and like I said, this is the first book in that series. It has a very beautiful cover. A lot of people remark on that, and I do think the dust jacket is very beautiful with the white and the gold. It does have that matte paper finish, and I don't really prefer that texture, but I do agree that the cover is beautiful. As you can see from my tabs here, I do have a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and jump right into the review. This story is about Britta, who has been found poaching on the king's land. And in this kingdom, that is a federal offense, and you can be hung or killed or imprisoned for that. But Britta is offered a deal. She will be granted her freedom if she is able to turn in her father's killer. The only problem is that the alleged killer is Cohen, which was Britta's only friend growing up. It is also her father's former apprentice, and Britta did have a thing for Cohen, but she's determined to go after him so she's not hanged for poaching and that she can have her freedom. Britta embarks on this dangerous journey where everything is not as it seems. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So I want to go ahead and dive into the writing. While the story itself is semi-interesting, it plays on a lot of cliches. It has a lot of weird language things that happen. It has really poor descriptors, and a lot of things are repeated over and over and over again. See what I did there? The main kingdoms in here, one of them accepts magic and one of them persecutes for it. The kingdom that Britta is from persecutes people with magic, but the kingdom that she ends up traveling to reveres magic. So that brings a cool twist to the story, but there were so many times that I was ripped away from the story because of the awkward writing. One of the things that was repeated over and over again was that her skin was like chicken flesh. It bumps up like chicken flesh, or goosebumps. That was just repeated so many times in this story. She would go on to try to describe something, and it was just unnecessarily and awkwardly described. I turn his sentence over in my head, his words like garden compost, shifting and breaking down until they've fallen apart. That just seemed really awkward to me, and things like that happened over and over again. I cannot hold my laughter. It bursts from me like water slipping past a dam, swift and free and explosive. Another example. Anxiety presses against my chest, a winter storm encroaching on a cottage, slipping icy fingers through every weak crack. Another example. Though his expression seems void of the usual dislike, his thoughts are a mystery. A scant seed of hope starts inside. It's an indigo drop of dye tinting a vat of boiling water. Go on and on about the horrible descriptions. I will tell you there was one lovely description of clouds, and they were described as honeysuckle and amethyst rain clouds hover over the lingering blaze of sunset from a storm that passed through earlier, and I thought that was really lovely. I wish there were more things like that really described something as comparing it to something that has nothing to do with it. So those awkward descriptions really took me out of the story quite a few times, over and over again, as I said earlier, and for that reason I ended up rating this book 2 out of 5 stars. I was really hoping to love it because I don't read fantasy often, and I'm always looking for another great fantasy book that I can recommend to you guys. Unfortunately, the characters in here weren't that much better. I really did love Britta as the main character. She was super sassy and fun, but everybody else in the story lied to her at one point or another, including her dead father, and it just seemed like everybody was lying to her, and some of the times I didn't even understand the reasoning behind their lies. She's supposed to be this great hunter and tracker, but she failed on every front. She's talked about and raved about her tracking skills and her hunting skills because her father taught her, and you know, all of that, but she fails to see so many signs that it's just like, are you really a good tracker? Do you really know any archery at all? She was also a bit of a damsel in distress, and I'm kind of tired of seeing that. Also, there was this thing, like another thing about the writing, there was this fake swearing, and it was seeds. Oh, seeds. But it was just so weird and so strange that I just didn't get it. Setting is the two kingdoms. Like I said, one reveres magic, one persecutes magic, and they don't really seem very differently from how they're written, but you really don't get a sense of that. Most of the novel itself is spent on this journey from one kingdom to another and then that kingdom back. There is one particular setting in the book that I thought shined more than the others. I really don't want to give anything away about that particular setting, but I thought it did stand out, but it could have just been done more because that was such like a cool place that I think more could have been expounded upon it. Plot definitely had some high and low points. Right when things were getting good, the writing would rip me away from the story, and then I would kind of lose interest, and then it would just kind of be boring for a little bit. Basically, the story can be summed up by saying that it was a great concept with poor execution. The main conflict of the story, of course, is that Britta is trying to track down her father's killer in exchange for her freedom, but she also wants revenge on the person that killed her father. Now, while that seems like a very lofty conflict, the resolution was not what I was expecting, but I really don't know what I was expecting from this. I will say that I did enjoy the resolution. It kept me on the edge of my seat. It was very interesting. It is the first book in a series or trilogy. I'm not sure which yet. It did make me kind of want to move on, but I think unless the writing improves drastically, I'm definitely not going to be purchasing it. I may just pick it up at the library and see if the writing has gotten any better. So as I said, I rated Ever the Hunted by Erin Summerill 2 stars. I am so sad to report that I didn't like this book because I know a lot of you are super excited about it. Don't get discouraged by my review. Just keep the things that I said in mind. There's going to be a lot of repetition. There's going to be a lot of poor descriptions. But other than that, the story was a little bit interesting. The magic, and if you kind of like epic journeys, there is an epic journey. But I just wish that there was more from the characters and from the world, especially it being a fantasy novel. That's all I have for you today. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!